Hello, everyone. We are going to do a stream again with the area called Dragonbone Vale, but this time we're going to take the story to its next step. This is going to be kind of neat confirmation of the various ideas that we'd put together. So the good thing is the story of what's going on in Neverwinter seems to make sense. I'm going to use my warlock this time. And we are going to see. How's the level there? Hopefully not too loud. I'm going to check that, make sure. Maybe, yeah, probably okay. Turn it down a tiny bit here. Yeah, it's loud. A little more loud than I want it. Let's try that. All right, so we are going to go into Dragonbone Vale. And my warlock has not done this next piece of the story yet. So if you remember last time, we had gone through the 3 different areas, each of which had a different faction. The Emerald Enclave, the Lord's Alliance, and the Order of the Gauntlet were each here taking action. And then Elminster back here in the hub where we are found currently was directing the action. And what we did was kind of various quests in these areas to figure out what is happening and who is doing the happening. What we found was that Valindra Shadowmantle is involved with the help of the Thayans, who she has often worked with in the past. So Zastam is somehow connected in all of Thay. Which, speaking of, there's a cool new Thayan sourcebook. If you play D&D, check out the Thayan guide that is found on the DM's Guild. Just came out. It's doing really well. Made by friends of mine, and including the person who created the Forgotten Realms. So that's pretty neat. Speaking of important people, Elminster has our quest. So there's the weekly quest. I'll take that. But the most important part here is the next step in the story.
Good to see you have joined us, old friend. Thanks to Kavatos' tireless work, we have a way to breach the barrier
All right, so we've got a way to breach the barrier that's around the mythall. So there's this super powerful magic area that is being created by Valindra Shadowmantle, and that lich, she is trying to manipulate magic such that dragons, all dragons, will be turned into undead. And not just any kind of undead, but sort of a shade-infused undead from the Shadowfell. That would be bad, so we're going to stop them. So we need various things. It wouldn't be a Dungeons & Dragons quest without needing several parts that you collect. That's how it works. So we're going to go to each of these places. You see now I've got these little quests that I've got to do. And so let me get onto my mount, and we will head to see the Emerald Enclave. I don't think I'm high enough level to zip. So you get faction in these various areas, and it looks like I can travel to the Order of the Gauntlet, but that's about it. So I can't just, when you get high enough faction, you can just have them take you straight to these little camps. So I have to go the old way, but hey, we get to again see this very pretty area here. Quite nice. Thanks to Dark Plane DM for dropping by earlier. Nice to see you. Earlier tonight, I was playing around. Actually, I didn't even know I was recording. For a couple of seconds, recorded there as I was working my browser, looking at something. And if you were clever, you saw something that might be a window into a thing that I will be talking about later. But you probably didn't, so I'll just leave it with that teaser. There's something fun that a company's going to have me talk about. That's pretty awesome. All right, we'll talk to Trien. We met in the Descent into Avernus campaign, and then later in the Thay campaign. So we need an incorruptible blossom. They've got a magical. The Thayans and the cultists have a magical pendant that shields them from the corruption surrounding the Scaleblight summit. He can replicate the magic, but we need something that is this special veil blossom that is incorruptible, and is this, has its own sort of radiance to it and cures any ailment. So they're going to use that to create protection so we can go beyond that veil into this area. So to do that, we've kind of go past a lot of these cultists in this area here, and we're going to go up to the top ridge. This is not particularly hard to figure out when it'll show it on your map which way to go. You see a little glowing trail there. I'm just going to run past most of these folks. I'll have to fight some of these when I get here, but we'll dispatch them quite quickly. In previous streams, I've shown you what they do. I usually like to show you kind of what it looks like when we fight these folks, and so you can see kind of the neat ideas that they have. But once you've seen it a couple times, you know what's up. The other thing is the grappling hook. If you've seen previous streams, you know that that's a new thing for this module, for the expansion. Lets you climb up to places. And I can pick up the incorruptible Veil Blossom. Very pretty. And I have that now. All right, so once I have the Veil Blossom, I can go right back to Etienne. I will once again run past all these baddies. And go find Etienne and hand it in. Each of these, when you get it, you have to hand it in. What do I think about these? I think they're kind of cool quests as a D&D type quest. In that I think that if you had to if you think about the story of what we just did, of going to this high peak, using your magic grappling hook, and defeating some baddies to get that, that's pretty neat. In this kind of an MMO game, I think it's a little bit like whatever. I just ran up there and grabbed this thing, right? Who cares? But it's neat D&D wise. I think that's fair. Every time I do these things, I get some rewards. Now I got to get the others. Fastest way is to actually go back this way. So I'm going to rush past some mobs here and go in this direction. All right. So now we're heading towards the Lord's Alliance area. And we've got to check in with Sergeant Knox, who's the NPC who's here. This is, if you remember from previous streams, this is the Dwarven area. A bunch of dwarves in this area that used to live here, and their king had a magical amulet that corrupted him. Is this guy doing okay? Yeah, looks like he's doing, I think. Cool. I'll make sure I need to help out. So we'll go into this little palisade that they've set up here, and I talk to Sergeant Knox. The Mad King Decree. Collect the Decree of the Mad King from Quellwater Tarn. The dragon that is working with Elminster and Kavatos, whose mate has been turned into a dracolich. How to travel through the corruption surrounding the Scaleblight summit. And looking for something called the Decree of the Mad King, a tablet that contains the laws of the fallen civilization of Keldagon. There's supposedly a scroll of rituals inside of it that she believes will help him in this quest. Okay. So there's some scrolls hidden in there. To go up there, the easiest way is gotta get the right angle, and if you get the right angle, then we can hop up there. That's not easy. There we go. We do a grappling hook up there, we come up here, and we can go right here. Mad King's Decree. So, apparently there was something in there. We have got it. Grappling hook to there. And jump down here. And we let him know.
Stand strong. Great work. I'll have my messenger get this over to Taraxia and Kavatos right away. I'll leave you to it, as I'm sure there are.
Alright, so now we got to get the next piece. So I think the fastest way is actually through this dwarven area. So I'm gonna grapple. I have to take down these people. Cultists of the Cult of the Dragon. And as before, there are sort of two main groups here. There's the Thayans and there are the Cult of the Dragon members who are working together on this plan. Cult of the Dragon is, we talked about before, they've in the past had sort of a schism where part of their group believed in the idea of what they've always believed in the past, which is that there is this prophecy that says that that kind of things will come, this prophecy will come to pass when the dragons return in undeath, rise as undead. And so if you can get enough dracoliches together, you'll make this prophecy come true. But another part of the prophecy, or another interpretation of the prophecy, happened around the time when 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons first came out, where some believed that what this was actually saying was you actually have to bring living dragons in, and in fact the whole thing is to bring Tiamat, the goddess of dragons, to Faerun, to the Forgotten Realms. And so there was this big plot to bring her into our world, which nearly worked, but we stopped her. I've got a stream about that because there's a really nice representation of that in this game. So Tiamat comes back to this world and tries to come. We stop her, and that defeats the Cult of the Dragon and Tiamat. Tiamat goes back to the Nine Hells. And the whole thing behind that was that, question was, well, what does the Cult of the Dragon now believe? Does the Cult of the Dragon still think that what we need to do is bring back live dragons, or are they back to undeath? And so here we see that no, they're back to undeath by and large, but with the concept that you want to taint it with sort of these Shadowfell energies. All right, so now we're talking to Celeste. She gives us the quest: the crystal remains the same. Remains of a dragon named Baruloxus rest within Wormbone Marrows. This particular dragon was killed by their own lovers. They were casting a necromantic spell, causing some of the remains to crystallize and shatter. Those crystallized remains may help us create something that will protect us from the corruption surrounding Scaleblight Summit. All right, so we will head there. And to do that, I'm just going to drop down here. We're going to head towards that large dragon we see in the distance. In an earlier stream, we talked about the Marrows, good name for this area. It has a where two kind of lovers came together to rest, and then other dragons decided to do the same, and that's where a whole bunch of them. The front of this lets us know that this is perhaps a topaz dragon, some sort of gem dragon, and it has this crystallized top, and we can kind of hop on the bones and climb up here and pick it up. So we pick it up, we have the crystal. That is the third part we needed. We kind of run past all the baddies here. No reason to do battle with them since we are all about the lore. Let us get to the lore. Grapple hook up there for a little time. And hand it in.
You found a crystallized dragon bone?
Yep, so now that we found it, we need to go back to see Elminster. So I think actually I can take my horse back. No, I'm not rank 3. Okay. So I will just map travel here. So, pretty typical. 3 quests. Things often happen in 3s. 3 quests. We got 3 parts. All of them meant to get us through, and if I just look at the barrier, through this area that's in purple, that big barrier that we've seen in previous streams.
All the items are in place.
One more component. So, what do we need? We need
Has made an astounding breakthrough. That should help us penetrate
the 4th component,
surrounding
a
the
periaptive shielding, an artifact that the Thayans wear to defend themselves as they pass through the barrier. So if we can get that, then we can make it work. So, all right, fine. Off we go. And, wait, I really can't. I thought I had, no, I do not have rank 3 in my, order of...
Once you have the
Oh,
pyramid,
yeah, I'm still 2.
meet me outside
That's why.
the barrier.
And I cannot purchase it, I imagine it. I have a number, but it won't get me quite there. All right, so we'll do it the old way. We'll just race back this way. Yeah, so we have all the parts except this necklace. And once we have the necklace, then in theory, we have the things to protect us from the energies beyond, the way to get through the barrier, and so on. And so the whole point of this is we're going to try to stop Valindra because clearly she has a plan based on everything we've learned in the past with the help of the Thayans and the Cult of the Dragon to create, to use a mythall to cast an enormous spell. So powerful. This is, beyond 9th level magic. This is power beyond power, that will cause the every dragon in the world to become undead, and not just undead in a normal sense, but shadow-infused undead. That is what they call bad. We do not want that. So let's see, which way do I want to go? It doesn't super matter, I think. Yeah, this is good. All right. So yeah, we must stop that. So we want to sneak in here and hit Master Alioth of Thay. Oop. There we go. He has some cool, ray of lightning. I like that effect. Really cool looking. And I am giving him the Force Grip. You can see that, but it doesn't last long because he's powerful. But I've got a number of good attacks, and I will stop him in his tracks. And then I come over here, and we can steal the unattuned Periapt in his little cool Thayan, we call it tent. So we've got the last piece. We did it. You can see a nice little cool Thayan looking place where they're hanging out. Thayans, this is all, everything here you see is very, very Thay. If you pick up that source book on the DM's Guild, you will see all kinds of art that reflects this kind of style, the Red Wizards of Thay. So now we will go see, change my active quest. I'm going to go see Elminster at the summit. So he is up here at the top where the barrier is, and we are going to talk to him about getting rid of it. You can see there's that barrier.
You found an unattuned Periapt of Shield.
I did, Elminster. I found it.
The ritual that must take place is sacred, so Geisentraxia has required she be allowed to perform it in private.
Okay.
Essentially, the
Veil Blossom's incorruptible essence will be used to imbue some cleansing foci with massive amounts of radiant energy. The crystallized Dragonbone will be used to keep the energy stable. The ritual will transfer the Periapt's magic to the cleansing foci. Brilliant, isn't it? Sure. We don't have enough to make for our whole armies, but we can make the barriers harmless. Okay. Which I guess means we still got to do all the work. So now I've got to place the... I guess there's not just one foci along the barrier. And, oh, she's already done with the ritual. Cool. And we're going to put it in there. Elminster's cheerful as ever. Ha ha! Here, you helped get the components, so why don't you place them? Yep. What an honor. Very cool. I'm glad to do it. Alright, so now we got to place a couple more, which requires us to sort of... I almost fell over the edge. Go over here. Of course, there are some bad guys in certain places, so got to deal with that. All right, that was good. Pick up our loots. Open up a treasure chest because I cannot say no to a treasure chest. It's just the way it goes. Too many years of playing D&D to say no to a treasure chest. I don't care if inside of it is useless stuff. It's a treasure chest. Oh yeah, there's the foci. Doon. Number 2 is in place. And now we continue to hop along the way. More bad guys. Warlock lashes out with the Eldritch Blast. Pew pew. And pick up our loot. I'm still suffering. Just leftover damage. Okay, making sure there wasn't another one running around attacking me. But no. Alright, make it all across this way. And you can see there's lots of different ways to get through the barrier, but all of them are close to us currently. Put in the last cleansing focus here. So I can get away from those guys. So now we go back to Elminster, having done that. This game, the Warlock can do this, what's called sort of shadow slip, where I can move really quickly. That's kind of fun. Basically as fast as you would on a mount, but you can do it for a short time, and then it regenerates. And you can evade a lot of damage doing that. It's kind of cool. All right, so back to Elminster we go. Let's see what he says. And again, mechanics-wise, MMO-wise, it's fine. In terms of a D&D adventure, I think it's actually really good. Like, this is a cool idea. The focus must be placed in 3 places. You know, it would be defended by cultists, so you attack them. Like, that's cool. I think it's neat. All right, we've placed them. We're all prepared. I'll begin to assemble the Shield of the North so we can move through the barrier as one and stop Valindra from casting the Scaleblight mythall. Scaleblight. Good name, right? The scales of dragon, and you're transforming them, corrupting them. Cool. Whatever comes next, I'm proud of what we've achieved here today. Yeah, me too. All right, we're going to stop her. The Thans have finished charging the mythall. I can feel it slowly unraveling the threads of magic as we speak. If Valindra succeeds in casting the rite of the dracolich as a mythall, then all of dragonkind will be converted. Life as we know it would end in a flash. We're not without hope, but we must act with haste. I'll assemble the Shield of the North, travel to Scaleblight Summit, and we will confront Valindra together. So, huge epic stakes, right? I mean, really bad if that were to happen. Because even good dragons would suddenly be bad. That would be no good. So, here we go, and we're going to go to Scaleblight Summit. We're not ready to confront Valindra yet, but we are now in the heart of it. You see some Harpers are here. They're the other faction that kind of take care of the main camp. And you see now we can really appreciate the mythall in the center.
We must work together to stop Valindra.
All right, and by together he means I need to go destroy these conduits. Drop some fields, some spells, all kinds of nastiness. All right, so we're going to destroy these conduits. And I like that, you know, this is something the game has done more and more, is that, like, the action of destroying these conduits, well, those conduits look like ones that you might remember we destroyed earlier as a quest. So it's like a familiar kind of concept that, hey, that's what the bad guys are using, and we can go there and, you know, break those things and stop them. And it uses this mechanic of hopping around, so we're going to go over here to get to an earth moat and destroy the next one. Assassin drakes and dragonclaw alchemists and ambush drakes. Oh my. And it's cool that, like, our people are already fighting there. I kind of think that's a neat touch that, you know, Order of the Gauntlet troops and stuff that work, so it makes it feel like it's not just you, even though, let's be honest, it is just us. And we can keep going around clockwise to each of these different areas. Hunting drakes. These guys with their fun shield. Third malignant conduit is destroyed. And I will jump this way to keep going around. This is the area where the big heroic encounter that you get access to once you've completed all of this that I'm doing. That's where it takes place, so it's kind of fun to go through. And go here again. Looks cool though. I like that. Really neat looking. I like the warlock and how it sort of zips around. I think that's really neat to be that sort of highly mobile. I think it's a fun way this character's made. So can I just do that? Or is it going to say I'm in battle? Yeah, lets me do it. Cool. Alright, so now we need to get to that one, but I need to go down first. Gotta get up to get down. Let's see. Boop. Go there. And can I go there? No. Ooh, bad guys are fighting me. Alright, I gotta defeat these guys. Tried to evade them, but I did not pull it off. More baddies there, but let's go up here. Dun dun dun. Day and night. All the baddies working together. Last conduit.
The conduits have been destroyed. It's your turn, Etrian.
Alright, so now I need to go to where the Emerald Enclave are, so it's back this way again. We'll have to defeat these anyway, I think, so I might as well just fight them here and take them on. Alright, so here.
Lead the way for our wizards. They will dispel the corruption.
So Wizards of the Emerald Enclave. Interesting. Cool. I would have expected Druids, but that's fine. Emerald Enclave are the faction that is sort of nature aligned, but they do believe in destroying magic that is, corrupted, which also the Harpers do. Like Harper Wizards would have made even more sense. The Harpers are interesting because a lot of times we think of them as being a good organization, but they're a little more neutral / good in that they will stop a good person who has very powerful magic. Like they don't want magic to get out of hand, basically. And whether you are good or evil, that they're concerned about that. All right, so we got that site. We gotta go over here. And we have to fight these dudes. All right, quick work of those. Good job, Emerald Enclave. North Corruption Site is right ahead. All right. Now we've got that down, and we go over to this corrupted site, and they cleanse it. I'm not entirely sure what this is doing. I guess it's, somehow a level of cleanliness that will allow us to get through. Why, but somehow. I think that could be a slightly better story. If I was running this as a D&D adventure, I might want something a little better, like, the wards are shaking, but they're not down. We've got to free these areas of corruption and get there. All right, so Sergeant Knox is leading the offensive here, and now we come here and help out. There's Kavatos fighting these Thayans, and over here is Sergeant Knox. Sometimes he's with Kavatos, sometimes he's over here. It varies. If you do play Neverwinter and you haven't done this, there are plenty of reasons to want to do this. it grants you a whole bunch of what are called astral diamonds, which is a currency that came from 4th edition and makes absolute zero sense to be the default currency for the game, but is in fact the default currency for the game. But yeah, you get a bunch of them, so it's just worth doing with all of your characters. And so yeah, we're just going to take down all of these baddies. When we defeat enough of them, the game will let us confront Valindra. We're almost at the end. I'm going to conserve some of my resources because I'm going to save it for the final battle. 80%, one more fight. Here we go. Really like the fire breather. He can breathe fire, as his name would suggest, but also he throws this like fiery zone. Alright, Sergeant Knox is here, Kavatos is here, and there's Valindra laughing away at us because she's got such a good plan.
The Scaleblight mythall is at hand.
Indeed, indeed it is. So she has her mythallar going, as you can see, very cool looking. Kind of you can tour around it. Like I don't think there might be some bad guys around, but it's really neat looking. And you can see Valindra's inside of it. All the earth motes around it. I mean, that is cool. So I always try to get some inspiration from this whenever I'm, playing this game. Kind of like, okay, what's going on, right? The twisted trees, the broken rock shunted away from this place, the floating earth motes, which is very 4th edition, and then this chaotic storm at the center of it all from all these arcane energies that have even changed the rock, right? Made it purple. Like, that's awesome. And we have to go in and face Valindra, the lich. And I'm gonna drop as many powerful things as I can. She'll drop a field there, as you can see. I did that skull. That's my skull on her, trying to do damage to her. She does this sort of draining thing. If you stay there, it's bad. And once we defeat her, she will do something that she has done in the past when we've faced her, which is she has the ability to sort of send out these giant bolts of energy. Is she going to do that now? I think so. She becomes invulnerable. Now you will die. She summons wraiths, which will chase after us and drain us. And then there's this sort of like fire stuff there. Oh, this is bad. That comes across in that like X mark. And just as before, it's really hard to see. The good thing is when you do the dungeon where you face her and this happens, it's like impossible to see it. And you die. Like you're dead. You're gone from the ability, and you hope your friends can finish off the mission because you just died. Here, it's not as bad. You take a bunch of damage, but it's not the end of it. This is a kind of easier version, which I'm glad, because it would be undoable, because whatever they did to the graphics, it's exceedingly hard to see the zones that damage you. Well, I did see that one. I was just bad at getting out of the way. All right, so we are halfway done with Valindra's hit points. We can do it. We can defeat her. We're going to save Faerun. She looks really neat, by the way. I think that's really cool, the way she's kind of her like weird, like fallen angel type looking wings. I don't know why she has those, but they look super cool on her. I don't know if that's a spell form or what, but because she is just a lich, she's not, a fallen angel or anything like that. She's an elven lich. I'm gonna drop some more damage on her. Ooh, looks like she's doing her little burst of stuff and conjuring wraiths again. Wraiths, bad. Now erase them and stand between those little spots. I'm running away from the wraiths, so I'm in pretty good shape. I think that might be it. Alright, so we've pretty much just about got her down. You can see how if they had made her harder, this would be quite difficult and quite epic, but they made it so it kind of anybody can take her on and defeat her. So I'm gonna do that. In fact, now something happens. Behold my moment of glory. Look at that. It's Elminster.
Brace yourselves! I'll get us to safety!
So basically, Elminster, upon just Anthraxia, comes in and teleports us out because the mythall was actually cast. We failed. We didn't stop her in time. We tried. We just didn't get there in time. All right, so in case we missed that, we come over here and we get an explanation.
My friend, were circumstances not so dire, I'd request you indulge me in some idle banter.
Mistress smiles upon us today. Do me a favor.
So check on them.
Guys and tracks, your old friend.
Mr. the Goddess of Magic was instrumental at. Are you okay, just Anthraxia? So this is kind of interesting because she is a dragon here standing in human form. She says, you know, I've never experienced a mythal of such magnitude. My soul twisted and spun inside my bodies, my head filled with countless echoes of my own voice. A bright, and that is an allusion to the material in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, a D&D book that talks about this multiverse and how dragons, echoes of powerful dragons, can live in other worlds. So that's what she's experiencing here. She's feeling all of her multitude of dragon selves. A bright light shielded me during the teleport. I believe Elminster's magic saved me from becoming a dracolich. So she's gonna kind of take that all in. And if we talk to Kavatos,
The very Elminster pulled off a mass teleport just in time.
he explains that a mass teleport was used. A second later, and her magic, Valindra's magic, would have consumed us all. She cast a flawed version of the Scaleblight mythall. I watched the energy flood in waves and stop abruptly. Screams filled the air and confirmed my research. Somehow the Thayans linked that Netherese mythall to the phenomenon of dragon sight. I may never fully understand it, but I will say that no lich should be capable of such power. So I don't exactly know whether they're saying we helped stop it, we contained it, or whether it went into other aspects of the multiverse. It's not entirely clear. But now we've talked to both of them, we come back to Elminster.
Kavatos and Traxia are correct. Valindra managed to cast a flawed version of the Scaleblight mythall, but I was able to save us from its
Yeah, so Elminster always has something up his sleeve. It was not the victory we hoped for, but we accomplished great things here in Dragonbone Vale. Valindra would have succeeded in converting all of Dragonkind to undead monstrosities. Instead, her spell was stopped. It didn't expand beyond that immediate bubble. I don't know what's coming, but I know I'm grateful for this grand alliance. So that's it. That concludes this sort of mini expansion piece, which they added to the initial piece that we played. So when we click on this claim reward, it takes us to this Scaleblight Summit adventure. And we get a whole bunch of astral diamonds, and we get cool equipment, and we get extra points for our character to advance, sort of basically like leveling up plus treasure. And campaign-wise, Dragonbone Vale, you may or may not have finished it. In fact, this character has not finished it yet, but that's sort of separate, which tells us that, hey, there could be more. You know, whatever the story is of this, you know, maybe it's being done all through like a dungeon or something like that, but at least currently here's where we are in the story, and more could come over time. But for now, what this grants you is we now have access to Scaleblight Summit, and periodically people here are running various events, which when you do different encounters, and it's kind of a neat way, it's worth explaining how this works real quickly, which is that periodically a caravan will leave this area, come down this trail, and go to one of these sites, and that's happening to all three of these. Then a player can interact with it, and just one player can cause this to start heading towards the ritual sites, which are here, here, and here. And that it then gets ambushed halfway through. So like here's an ambush taking place. There can also be one here and one here. You can then fight off this ambush. When you do so, that allows, if you succeed in doing it, it allows it to proceed here, and the wagon is now located here, and there is a cultist ritual that takes place here. And I think the idea is that you're sort of bringing supplies to that so you can fight it off. Because if you go there, you see that there are NPCs there. There are non-player characters that are interacting with the ritual trying to stop it. Like there'll be Emerald Enclave people, or there'll be Order of the Gauntlet people, and you kind of help them defeat this. If you do so, then this sequence happens enough time, then an event happens here. I don't see anyone talking about one currently since it started, but I'll separately film this battle, which is that at the site here that I talked about before, there will be a dragon that is being turned into one of these shade-empowered dracoliches, and we get to go and stop it. And it's pretty fun. The dragon does some neat maneuvers. It's worth seeing, so I will record that at a separate time and kind of cap. All right, I'm gonna record this BHE. Looks like we're starting. We don't have quite as many people as we should for this, but you know, hey.
Stop doing smart. Would help the cleric out a little here.
I'm gonna mute that person. So, the way this works is we are going to first, fight these forces. And then we get to face off against the main priest. This is the High Priest of Sandmaster. Sandmaster, lore-wise, we talked about, is the original person who came up with the concept of the prophecy around dragons and dracoliches. So, all of us together, we'll do a pretty good job to take care of them. Now, he is going to convert this dragon into a dracolich. Maybe we stopped it in... Well, it doesn't look like a dracolich, so maybe he just got mad that we stopped this ritual. The dragon does a number of kind of fun attacks, including that sort of stomp. You just have kick up at the back of his feet. He like lays people down flat, and he tends to throw you around like he just did to me. What's kind of cool about that is that it means that I'm going to do a little more closer to him. By doing that, he kind of throws people around, and then he'll, like, you can see, like, move around the battlefield a lot. And so he'll run you over. He will breathe fire on us in a bit, I think very soon. And whoops around like that and throws people everywhere. It's fortunately not amazing damage, so it's something you can generally deal with unless you have very few players. Once he starts spouting flame, you see that gets kind of interesting. There it is. Pretty cool. A superheated breath. As we all work together, we can do a pretty good job on Incendiary Cloud. That's kind of cool. I don't think I've seen this before. Wow, that does a lot of damage. And I better move out of the way and heal. Drink a potion. I can jar down my Pillar of Flame on him. Debuffs, all the usual fun stuff. Yeah, so apparently he casts Incendiary Cloud, and he also can create these little cloud areas. And there's this sort of stuff, which is hard to tell exactly how you're supposed to dodge that. But, oh, there it goes again. And then the Tail Slam, I like that. Yeah, there you go, fire zones, very cool. You know, that's the thing about being a dungeon master is even when you're getting your butt kicked, you kind of like have to prove like, yeah, I approve of that. I think that's kind of cool. That's what I'd want to see happen. Yeah, so let's see how this goes. Getting them pretty close here. Oof. Ow. Ow, quit it. And the double hit. Oop, someone's down somewhere. Or just very low hit points. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I guess the idea is mad because we stopped her from getting the power. Stopped him, Vilxidros, from getting the power he wanted. Keep dodging the tail there. And that's about going to be it, as Vilxidros is down. Crumbles down dead. Aha! Yeah, there we go. Dragon down for the count. Well done. We all succeed. Get our rewards, which is a whole bunch of like reputation with the different groups, and sometimes you get rings and things like that, but not every time. But so it goes. And then on to the next one. All right. Hope you all enjoyed. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed some of the lore here and how the story has developed. We'll see what else gets added to this, what Valindra's next plan is. Valindra is Neverwinter's main foe, so we'll see what she does, our terrible villain Valindra. You can support my work on the DM's Guild. You can support it on my website, alphastream.org. You can see the latest 2 supplements that I created, the rules for collaborative campaign creation and the Game Master's Guide to Evolving Magic Items. That and more can be found through my website, alphastream.org. If you subscribe, you will get one of these free. And if you become a supporter on Patreon or Ko-fi, you will get both of them for free. And so just even signing on for a month will basically get these at a huge sale. And if you even hang around for a couple of months, you hopefully have gotten your money's worth. But more importantly, when you join me as a supporter, you get to weigh in on the future of what I do. I will be starting a show very soon that will be not Neverwinter, but actually more role-playing game and even role-playing game hobby focused. So that'll be really neat. I am active on YouTube. All of these streams get pruned a bit and then taken over to YouTube, so you can find all of that there. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.